is NBC Palm Springs.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Sarah Sanchez.
Coronavirus coverage brought to you by East Valley COVID-19 testing site, serving residents of eastern Coachella Valley.
I do anticipate that after this weekend's parties, we're going to see a bump in the next week to 10 days, 2 weeks.
The nation ends the holiday weekend in what one health expert calls a free fall. Lakes and beaches from New York to the Great Lakes to California, all packed. But coronavirus cases are surging in 32 states. In Florida, it took almost 4 months to hit 100,000 cases. But then less than 2 weeks to reach 200,000. The mayor of Austin, Texas, says his city is 2 weeks away from running out of hospital beds. Here in California, total coronavirus cases are up to more than 90%. Hospitalizations are also rising, jumping by more than 50% over the past 2 weeks. Even though deaths aren't up, experts worry that that could merely be a result of a lag between new cases and deaths. Since the pandemic began, we've been working to get you the latest information on coronavirus by speaking with experts and trying to stay one step ahead to help our community slow the spread. Our Kitty Alvarado takes a look back at what these experts predicted and what they expect looking forward.
In January, California had its first coronavirus cases and started spreading undetected in other states. By February, the CDC was warning people to prepare.
Disruption to everyday life may be severe.
Then, in early March, Riverside County started seeing community spread, and the first 2 deaths in the county happened in the Coachella Valley.
I turned to the nurse in the hall and said, "She doesn't know we're here."
That same month, in Shadow, Dr. Richard Loftus warned of the consequences of not following strict CDC guidelines.
If we do business as usual, the hospitals will get overwhelmed in a matter of a couple of weeks.
Chief Medical Officer with Eisenhower Health, Dr. Allian Williamson, says local hospitals are now seeing those early predictions materialize.
We're basically following the curve of what was predicted.
Our local hospitals are treating a record number of coronavirus patients. Eisenhower Health, Desert Regional, and JFK Memorial are caring for 165 COVID patients, and 35 of those are in ICU. While they are still able to treat all illnesses and emergencies, COVID is testing capacity and staff.
There's no question that all of the hospitals here in the Valley are definitely being stressed to the breaking point.
At this rate of hospitalizations, critical drugs to treat COVID like remdesivir are in short supply and may become more difficult to source.
We are facing shortages, and it's very likely in the near future we'll have to begin really studying who is most likely to benefit from that medication, because I don't think we will have enough clearly to treat every single patient.
Dr. Williamson says we can all do something every day to stop the most dire predictions from happening.
The next couple of weeks are going to be very critical for us.
Kitty Alvarado, NBC Palm Springs.
Let's take a look at our local COVID-19 numbers. The county has stopped reporting numbers on weekends, and they didn't report numbers on the July 4th holiday. So this is a 2-day total. Over 1,100 new cases reported in Riverside County. 298 of those are from the Coachella Valley. We saw 7 new deaths in the county. 1 was from the desert. Indio has the most cases in the valley with 1,592. And Indio also has the most deaths, jumping all the way to 35. Local cases of COVID-19 are popping up at all sorts of businesses. Many of those cases have been found at date packing plants, big box stores, and hotels. Well, now labor unions say the county just isn't doing enough to protect workers. Our Daytona Everett has more.
COVID-19 has seeped its way into virtually every crevice of the food industry.
Do you know statistically how many meatpacking plants have been infected and how many date plants have been infected?
There has not been one that I'm aware of. There has not been one plant that has not been affected.
Joe Duffel is the president of a union representing food workers across Southern California. He says navigating the pandemic has been increasingly difficult.
You do it well, you do it right, you do it once. Because if you don't, you're going to pay a higher price later. And right now we're paying that higher price.
That price is positive cases. Riverside and Imperial County have some of the highest numbers, and some are still going unaccounted for, according to Duffel.
The companies don't want to give out the information because they don't want to scare their investors or they don't want to scare the customers. It's just bad for business, right?
Labor representatives say many food workers earn low incomes, have limited access to health care, and have concerns about their immigration status, making it difficult to come clean about COVID-19.
When you create that atmosphere, you put people underground and they go out and expose other people potentially because they're trying to do business as usual. We have to have a system and create a system to where people feel safe to be able to say, listen, I've contracted this, or I believe that I've been exposed to this, and that there's not going to be repercussions because of that.
When our public health department reaches out to any confirmed case and we ask if they are employed, if they do work outside the home, again, we're asking these questions so that we can contain the disease.
Public Information Officer Brooke Federico says Riverside County has ramped up resources for coronavirus, but Duffel says it's not enough.
I think Riverside County needs to step up. I really do.
We do want to increase our number of contact tracers. I will say that we do not currently have a backlog in our contacts that our contact tracers are reaching out.
Everything a work in progress so people can stay at work. Daytona Everett, NBC Palm Springs.
Taking a live look now at our Agua Caliente Casino cam in Rancho Mirage, and send things over to NBC Palm Springs Chief Meteorologist Mike Everett with a look at our forecast. It's Monday night, Mike. We're all focused on getting through the week. What's it going to look like?
It's going to be an interesting week, Sarah. We'll talk about that in a moment. That live look that we were just seeing there was literally my live look on Saturday night as we took part in the fireworks festivities at the Agua Caliente Casinos. I was up on the 16th floor up there. In case you missed it, it was a phenomenal experience being right parallel with those pyrotechnics. Now, there was an issue for a lot of our friends along and west of the mountains there because so many private people were sending fireworks up into the air that there was actually an air quality alert in place on Sunday. That's been allowed to expire. It never affected us here, and this is a big reason why. We see those gusty winds that pick up every afternoon and evening from the northwest, and today was no exception. Gusts got up to about 30 miles an hour, and your sustained winds are sitting around 15 to 20 miles an hour right now along the I-10 corridor. That's the ventilation that we need. In fact, it's doing something wonderful for us. Air quality, something we keep a very close eye on this time of year. Pretty good. We got into the moderate range this afternoon. We've backed that off into the mid-40s right now. It's some pretty good stuff. For this time of year, it's phenomenal. And again, the ventilation definitely helping with that. Almanac for today's date had us about 6 degrees above average. 113 is where we arrived. 107 is the 30-year average for today's date. And just 2 years ago, we were 119. Overnight, we're doing all right. We managed to keep it within 1 year of the 30-year, or 1 degree of the 30-year average. 76 is the norm. 58 is where we were in 1946. Take a look at your neighborhood weather right now. 97 degrees at Palm Springs International. Nice breeze coming through there as well. Humidity sitting at 13%. That's literally double what it was earlier this afternoon. It was a hot and dry day. Tracking a couple days that are going to cool slightly as a low pressure system punches in from the northwest. Doesn't bring any precipitation, but it does back us off closer to average on Wednesday. Take advantage because as we go into the second half of the week, Sarah, to answer your question, it's going to get hot. I'll tell you how hot it gets and how long you can expect it to last coming up.
All right, thank you, Mike. Television personality Mary Hart hosted President Trump's July 4th gathering. She's been involved in a number of Palm Springs events over the years, but now some locals are calling for the city to cut ties with her. Olivia Sandusky has more.
We welcome you, President Trump, our First Lady Melania, and your whole family.
Part-time desert resident Mary Hart hosted President Trump's 4th of July event, leading to pushback from locals online, with some calling for an end to her relationship with the Palm Springs Film Festival.
Yes, it's a free country. We do have free speech, but does the film festival want to be associated with somebody who is this much of a vociferous endorser of this divisive character, President Trump?
Hart has also served as the Grand Marshal of the Festival of Lights Parade and has a star on the Walk of Fame downtown. And Federal Election Commission data shows both Hart and her husband, Burt Sugarman, have made sizable donations to the president's campaign over the last few years.
You wouldn't get this reaction if it were Mitt Romney or John McCain or President George W. Bush. But if you're going to stand up there and endorse him, write him a check for tens of thousands of dollars, you're going to pay a price.
Controversy also formed during the event over hand gestures Hart used in her speech. In a statement, Hart says, A white supremacist symbol? Are you kidding me? I would never use one and never knew that the OK sign was anything but positive. My South Dakota parents instilled in me to respect everyone, and that means everyone, no matter their skin color or religion. Members of the East Valley Republican Women Federated say they support Hart and feel the backlash is unfair.
Trying to take Mary Hart's status away just because she went and appeared on a thing that was about the country and not about his political career is crazy.
And to further address concerns about her presence at the event, Hart says, I was invited to my home state of South Dakota to introduce my friend Governor Kristi Noem, which I did. And I was proud to be at our great shrine of democracy, Mount Rushmore. Olivia Sandusky, NBC Palm Springs.
Two families are without their homes tonight after a fire in a Desert Hot Springs neighborhood. It started in one home on Santa Cruz Road, then traveled to the other home, completely destroying both. No one was injured, and the cause is still under investigation. A brush fire in Santa Clarita scorches 1,300 acres. The Soledad fire was likely started by fireworks. As of tonight, the fire was 30% contained. No homes have been damaged. And another brush fire grows over 1,500 acres in Northern California, forcing many evacuations near Gilroy. This is the Cruz fire, which started Sunday. The fire destroyed at least 2 buildings and is threatening others. Well, coming up next, a potential running mate for Joe Biden tests positive for coronavirus. We're learning more tonight about the diagnosis. And a breakthrough discovery is providing clarity into new changes of the coronavirus itself. Could this help or impede the development of a vaccine? We'll take a look. Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms has tested positive for COVID-19. She announced both she and her husband have tested positive. Lance Bottoms says she had not been showing any symptoms and does not know how she got infected. The mayor is believed to be on Joe Biden's short list as a possible running mate. With coronavirus cases surging across the U.S., President Trump dismisses the seriousness of the pandemic, delivering this misleading claim. Take a listen.
Now we have tested almost 40 million people. By so doing, we show cases, 99% of which are totally harmless.
Now, experts say while testing is up, the surges in coronavirus cases are outpacing the increase in tests. Johns Hopkins estimates the current fatality rate at 4.6%. And now there are new calls for a nationwide requirement to wear masks. Scientists are now also reportedly pushing the World Health Organization to acknowledge the virus is airborne. Gabe Gutierrez with more.
As COVID cases mount across the country, the mask debate is intensifying. New Jersey's governor is now calling for a nationwide face covering mandate.
We need a national strategy, I think, right now, and masking has got to be at the core of that.
The New York Times also reports that hundreds of scientists are set to publish an open letter to the World Health Organization, urging the agency to revise its guidelines and acknowledge the virus can easily spread through the air indoors. Right now, less than half of states require wearing face coverings in public, despite CDC recommendations to do so. But even in those states, not everyone's following the rules. In North Carolina, a mask mutiny of sorts. Nearly none seen at this beach more than a week after a state mandate went into effect. Some customers outside of Walmart there defiant.
If you want to wear a mask, you can wear a mask. If you don't want to wear a mask, you shouldn't have to. It's a free country. Everyone has the right to do as they please.
In California, where masks have been mandatory for weeks, beachgoers in Santa Cruz are getting used to the routine.
Mask is now part of your checklist.
In New Jersey, Chris and CJ Havens were among hundreds streaming into the newly reopened Six Flags Great Adventure theme park, keeping up their July 4th tradition with masks in tow.
It's the right thing to do. The only difference would be, once we finish this, we're going to trade them in for something a little more stylish.
Some experts warn such a drastic change in behavior won't happen overnight.
If you think about things like seat belts or smoke-free laws, that took years, decades even, to change people's habits and make it become just a part of everyday life.
That was Gabe Gutierrez reporting. Chief Meteorologist Mike Everett is standing by with a look at your forecast. I know he wears his mask because I see it there in his car, in the parking lot. Same here, Mike.
I've got one in every corner of my life now. You know, I think we could solve this debate if we just switch that message around from wear a mask to protect others to wear a mask to protect yourself. Then a lot of those folks would just be putting them on faster than you could say boo. We are taking a live look right now outside the Agua Caliente Casino in downtown Palm Springs. The Cultural Center is taking shape, and the weekly forecast is as well. We'll take a look when we come back. Welcome back. Here's a live look for you, courtesy of our Walter Clark cam. Things looking pretty good out there. Quietness all up and down 111. Some beautiful clear skies out there tonight. In fact, there are some wonderful things to see in the sky. We'll talk about that in a moment. Let's talk about this. It's summer. It's July. This is North America. And you know what? Everything is pretty much as it should be. Steamy, stormy across the southeast. I'll show you the radar loop in a moment there. I just wouldn't want to be there for all the tea in China. 5 to 10 degrees above normal in the northeast as well. They had some thunderstorm activity in New York City. Meanwhile, high pressure building across the southwest. That's normal for this time of year. Heat persists. We saw temperatures that were 6 degrees above average today, but nothing we can't handle. And then up in the Pacific Northwest, just nice and cool. It is wonderful there. So look at this. We put Futurecast into motion. The southeast, it's literally moving from west to east as we speak. Just this hot, dense, muggy air, and that is firing up some afternoon thunderstorms from Florida all the way through into Texas there. Some storms firing up over the Dakotas today as well. In fact, right where Mount Rushmore is, they had some thunderstorm warnings in place. All of that is now moving off towards Sioux Falls there. I'll show you the warnings in a moment there. And then there's the Northeast. They've got some heat, but at least it's not as muggy as it is down towards the south. Meanwhile, there's just no moisture in the atmosphere here, except for one small wrinkle. There is a slight eddy that's formed right over top of the Southern California bight that's going to do a couple things. You may have noticed some of that moisture that was hanging around the base of the Banning Pass tonight. That'll be around for the next couple of days. We were telling you all about that dense fog last week that was right in that 215 corridor. I expect more of that this week. There's some weak low pressure that's pushing some northwesterly flow in our direction. That'll dial temperatures back for a couple of days. I was showing you that earlier. It's what happens behind it that is the story. Take a look at red flag warnings from Arizona all the way up into Utah and into Colorado as well. They've also got some fire weather watches there in southeastern Colorado. There's those thunderstorm warnings that we were looking at over the Dakotas there, and some winds up and down the west coast. Quick look over towards the southeast. No big deal there. They got a lot of moisture, but no watches or warnings. Temperatures across the west tomorrow will be in the mid 60s to low 70s. 97 in Denver. That's a mile high. Wow. 84s in Toronto, New York, and a muggy 91 in Miami. Muggy 90 in Nashville as well. Excessive heat watch is in place for Joshua Tree and along the eastern edge of Riverside County down towards Imperial County as well. Temperatures will be in that 110 plus range over the next couple of days. Current temperatures here, 80 in the Yucca Valley, 93 in Coachella, cool 48 in Big Bear, 60 in Idlewild. They got into the 80s and they'll see some low 90s over the next couple of days. Current winds coming in 17 miles an hour sustained. That'll back off after midnight. We start in the mid 70s on Tuesday. We warm to 111 and dew points in the 30s. It's going to be warm. It's going to be dry. Look for 112 in Indio and Palm Desert, 101 in Joshua Tree. Comfort Air 7-day forecast shows us staying closer to average through midweek, and then Friday we take the lid off. We're going from 114 to 115 and staying there through the weekend.
In tonight's Showbiz Report, Broadway actor Nick Cordero has died after a 3-month battle with COVID-19. He was just 41 years old. His wife posted on Instagram he passed away yesterday, surrounded in love by his family. Cordero appeared in shows like Waitress and Rock of Ages and was nominated for a Tony for his role in Bullets Over Broadway in 2014.
Never went down to Georgia. He was looking for Soul Steel. He was in a
And more sad news tonight. Country music and Southern rock legend Charlie Daniels has also died. Fans across music genres will remember Charlie Daniels' band's signature tune, The Devil Went Down to Georgia. Daniels was 83 years old. And finally, the composer of that iconic theme, Ennio Morricone, has passed away at the age of 91. The Oscar-winning film composer scored more than 500 films. He's most well known for the instantly recognizable melodies from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly and Once Upon a Time in the West. Although best known for creating music for westerns, the composer also developed soundtracks for cinematic classics including The Mission and Cinema Paradiso. I'll be right back.
Cinema Paradiso like a month ago. Really good movie.
That's random.
Yeah. The best foreign film, 1980.
And then he died. There's a new, more dominant strain of coronavirus that's now circulating in the U.S. Researchers at Duke University School of Medicine helped discover it. Michael Perchek reports.
The breakthrough discovery providing clarity into the changes of the virus. Dr. David Montefiore, a professor of surgery at Duke School of Medicine, part of a team that helped uncover this gene mutation.
It appears to spread faster, and that's probably why the virus liked the mutation and why it's so dominant.
Dr. Montefiore says this became the most common strain by the end of April, though there are still pockets of the country where the original strain is prevalent. While this strain may spread faster than the original, he says it does not explain why America has so many more cases, hospitalizations, and deaths than any other country.
Well, you look at Italy. This is the dominant form of the virus in Italy. It was the dominant form almost from the very beginning, and things were very bad over there, and they have it under control. And the same is true for other parts of the world.
Fortunately, researchers do not believe this strain is any more dangerous, and Dr. Montefiore adds treatment typically targets other parts of the virus, meaning the gene mutation should not have an impact when it comes to medical care. What they are trying to figure out is if it would have any repercussions on a potential vaccine.
We have data, very encouraging data, that this mutation is not going to have an effect on the immunotherapeutics and the vaccines. But it's preliminary data.
He says researchers are continuing to run experiments and hope to submit the findings for publication soon.
That was Michael Perchek reporting. Sports is up next, so stay with us.
Welcome back. Time now for a look at your NBC Palm Springs sports headlines. The president had those little tiny Twitter thumbs a-flying this weekend. He took aim at NASCAR's Bubba Wallace. President Trump tweeted at the sport's most prominent black driver, asking if he had apologized after finding out that the whole thing was just another hoax. He also added that flag decision has caused the lowest ratings ever. In response to President Trump's tweet, Wallace boiled it down to a hashtag: love wins. The FBI investigated and ruled out a hate crime, saying the rope had been there for months. And another thing worth noting, NASCAR's ratings have actually increased since the announced ban on the Confederate flag. Now on to the nation's capital. The 3 minority owners of the Washington Redskins are looking to sell their shares in the team. The 3 owners looking to sell about 40% of the team, and the development comes as the team appears increasingly likely to change its name amid renewed pressure. Major League Baseball releases the schedule for the 60-game season. Opening night will be Thursday, July 23rd. The defending champion Washington Nationals will host the New York Yankees, and the nightcap will see the Dodgers hosting the Giants. The rest of the majors will open the next day. And it looks like Patrick Mahomes will be in a Kansas City Chiefs uniform for a good long time. ESPN is reporting Mahomes has signed a 10-year contract extension to stay in KC through 2031. That's in addition to the 2 years that he has left on his current contract, keeping him in that uniform for 12 seasons. The extension is worth $450 million, and Mahomes could end up making over $500 million if he sees the contract through. That's going to do it for sports. We'll be right back.
Kanye West has announced his intention to run for president. He took to Twitter to make the announcement, and he already has his first public endorsement from Elon Musk. West also said that last November he had planned to run for the position in 2024, but apparently he just couldn't wait. So much to say, but so little time. So I'm just going to wrap it up. End it there. Have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow.